Have you ever felt like God was silent? Have you ever prayed with all your heart, only to be met with silence? Have you ever asked, why do good people suffer? Why do terrible things happen to those who fear God? If so, then today's video is for you. Because in the Bible, there was a man who lived righteously, uprightly, and with deep reverence for God. And yet, he suffered losses so devastating, they are almost impossible for the human heart to bear. He lost his wealth. He lost his children. He lost his health. He was misunderstood by everyone around him. Even his own wife told him to curse God and die. Yet, he never let go of his faith. Today, I invite you to join me in this profound and emotional journey through the story of Job, a man who walked through the deepest darkness, only to behold the brightest light of God's glory. Don't take your eyes off the screen, because the story you're about to hear isn't just a Bible tale, it's a spiritual journey that may transform your soul. Before we begin, please take just 2 seconds to subscribe to this channel and share this video with someone who might need it. This isn't merely a story of pain, it's a story of faith, endurance, and how God is still present, even in silence. In a distant land called Uz, lived a man named Job. He wasn't a king, a prophet, or a great national leader, yet he was known for his righteousness. He feared God and shunned evil. He was wealthy, not just in possessions, but also in faith. He had a large family with 7 sons and 3 daughters, thousands of livestock, and many servants. People looked at Job's life and said, "The blessing of God is clearly upon this man." But Job didn't only care about his own relationship with God, he cared for the souls of his children. After every feast they held, Job would offer sacrifices on their behalf, thinking, "Perhaps my children have sinned in their hearts against God." A faithful father, a devout man, a living symbol of integrity. But behind the veil of the physical world, a mysterious conversation was taking place in the heavens. The angels came to present themselves before God, and Satan was among them. God said, "Have you considered my servant Job? There is no one like him on earth, blameless and upright, fearing God and shunning evil." But Satan replied, "Does Job fear you for nothing? Haven't you placed a hedge around him and everything he has? Take it all away, and he will curse you to your face." And in a moment of divine permission, God said, "Everything he has is in your power, but do not lay a finger on the man himself." The test begins. In a single day, Job's entire world was destroyed. A servant came running. The Sabaeans attacked and stole the oxen and donkeys, and killed the servants. Another arrived. Fire from heaven fell and burned up the sheep and the shepherds. Next, Chaldeans raided and took the camels. Your servants are dead. And finally, the most devastating blow. A great wind struck the house where your children were feasting, and the house collapsed. They are all dead. Maybe you've experienced loss, pain, confusion. But imagine Job, in just a few hours, everything he loved, everything he worked for, everything he prayed over, was gone. Job tore his robe, fell to the ground, and worshipped. He said, "Naked I came from my mother's womb, and naked I shall return. The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord." You might think such faith would end the trial. But Satan wasn't finished. He went before God again. "A man may endure losing everything, but skin for skin. Strike his flesh, and he will curse you." God permitted it. Job was then struck with painful sores from head to toe. He sat among ashes, scraping his skin with broken pottery. From a respected figure, he became an image of pain and ruin. Even his wife, unable to bear the sight, said, "Are you still holding on to your integrity? Curse God and die." But Job replied, "Shall we accept good from God, and not also adversity?" 3 friends, Eliphaz, Bildad, and Zophar, came to comfort him. But when they saw him from afar, they couldn't even recognize him. They tore their clothes, wept aloud, and sat with him in silence for 7 days, because the grief was too great for words. But soon, their silence turned into accusations. They insisted, Surely you must have sinned. God only punishes the wicked. And now, on top of his pain, Job faced judgment from his own friends. Still, Job did not curse God. He cried out, he questioned, he even begged for death, but he never turned his back on the Lord. Job longed for a mediator, someone to plead his case before God. He wondered, why do the wicked prosper while the righteous suffer? He wrestled with the mystery of suffering. And then God answered. Out of the whirlwind God spoke, not with explanations, but with questions. Where were you when I laid the foundation of the earth? Can you command the morning? Do you understand the paths of the stars? God used the majesty of creation to show that some things are beyond human understanding. Job, once eloquent in his defense, now humbled himself and said, I had only heard of you, but now my eyes have seen you. I repent in dust and ashes. Then God turned to Job's friends and rebuked them for speaking wrongly about him. He told them to bring offerings, and Job would pray for them. And when Job prayed for his friends, God restored him, twofold. 14,000 sheep, 6,000 camels, 1,000 oxen, 1,000 donkeys, 7 sons and 3 daughters, the most beautiful in all the land. Job lived 140 more years, saw 4 generations of descendants, and died full of days and peace. The true ending of Job. The story of Job doesn't end in defeat. It ends in a faith purified by fire. It reminds us that we may never receive answers to our suffering, but we can still trust that God is there, loving, seeing, and working, even in the silence. Job's story isn't just from the past. It's your story, my story, the story of anyone who cries in the dark and still whispers, I don't understand why this is happening, but I know God is still God. Dear friend, if you've stayed until now, I believe your heart has been stirred, just like Job's was. Maybe you're going through a hard season. Maybe you're asking, why is all this happening to me? Remember, Job never got all the answers. But he saw God, and that was enough. If this story touched you, don't walk away quietly. Backhand index pointing right, like this video to support the message. Backhand index pointing right, comment below with what part of Job's story spoke to your heart. Backhand index pointing right, and if you want to hear more faith-filled Bible stories. Movie camera, subscribe and turn on notifications bell so you won't miss a single one. The channel, Stories of Faith, will always walk with you. Through every trial, every tear, every prayer, and every quiet miracle. May God be with you, just as He was with Job. See you in the next video. Have a peaceful, hope-filled day.